Hi, and good afternoon. I'd like to welcome you to Poem Praise 2. I do thank you for tuning in, and we are going to get back into the Black Woman's Guide to Understanding the Black Man. We are now in Chapter 2. This is Take 10, and the title of Chapter 2 is Identity, and it reads as such. The first level consisted of 1. Physical trauma, a ploy implemented by long-term, uncomfortable transport by ship across the ocean in cramped, overcrowded, inhumane corridors below deck where he was stacked like sardines and left to sleep in his own excrement. 2. Disorientation. The ships took him to a land geographically unfamiliar to him, containing foliage, wildlife, and a climate he was not accustomed to. And it was far, far away, many days and nights. 3. Hostility. He was treated badly, disrespected, rough-handled, chained, and rendered helpless, and then forced to watch the brutalization of his mother, his woman, and his children. The second level, a more devastating one, consisted of 4. He was prevented from speaking his own language. Languages are sounds used to transmit and receive information, to reflect the intensity of ideas, express history, and describe things indigenous to a particular people. Prohibiting his language stopped black men from communicating with each other and broke ties. His name was changed. The slave master insisted on renaming his charges according to his own whims, ignoring their given names. It was important to impress upon the black man that he was no longer the same person. So he was given a new identity in a new land with new status as a slave. 6. The slave master abolished his religion. His God concept was taken from him to prevent him from receiving comfort or calling on his own Lord for help. His God was replaced with the white man's God, another white man who was more powerful and currently in charge of him. Religious authority was redistributed by changing it from black to white. This is not new information. Practically all black men know that their ancestors were stripped of their names and religion while in slavery. But the reclaiming of these two important identifying features have never been paramount enough for him to address the issue on a national agenda. The question becomes, how can he reestablish his own culture or define his own identity while still clutching the European labels focused on him during his enslavement? It is irrational thinking for the black man to continue to bellyache about his real identity without investigating what his real identity was before he was enslaved and returning to it. The only part of his cultural traditions the slave master allowed him to keep and maintain was sport and play under the auspices of one, singing and dancing. Ain't that still going on? Two, games and sport competition. Ain't that still going on? It's going to be sold to the highest bidder. Who going to bid for the highest bidder? Whether it's basketball, football, baseball, soccer. Making jokes and playing the fool. Now that might have sounded funny, but I wasn't playing. It wasn't no joke either. Back to the book. Back to the book. These are the three components that are now looked upon as skills that black men specialize in to a fault. They are activities for which he is best known and most sought after for today. He is acclaimed an expert in these categories, and they gain him recognition, earn him the most money, and make him the most admired. He can be found exhibiting these attributes for a fee or for free in front of whatever audience is available. He is accustomed in certain circles to being called upon to do his little dance, tell his little joke, or demonstrate his physical proficiency in some sort of challenge. He takes pride in being singled out or requested to show his special talents. He is sometimes known for being the ambassador of clowning, the chairman of laughing at his own self, and the president of general tomfoolery. He delights in some people referring to him by saying, "That nigger is crazy," or "You are so funny," or "You crazy." Sadly, when he responds, he is. He thinks that it is all in fun, but the biggest joke is on him because it keeps other adults from taking him seriously. It is futile to convince him of this. These actions proliferate a behavior he perfected during slavery, to stay on his master's good side. Unfortunately, this behavior is also part of his identity today. Currently, the black man refuses to give up the names the slave masters saddled their family with. So his identity remains clouded by names connected to the nationalities from all over Europe. He insists that his name is now his own. And as long as he keeps his European name, he will continue to grow away from the so-called black culture he claims he is so proud of and desire to return to. Another unique aspect of his name problem is that black men, especially those claiming to be versed and trained in psychology, have not investigated or reported on the significance of the black man carrying a white man's name, or how it affects his mental status. Black male psychologists are remiss as scientists due to their collective refusal to bring attention to the negative psychodynamics inherited in taking a man's name and religion from him. Stripping. The black man's ego derives its energy and motivation from identifiable points of basic reference, such as by the name one is called by or answers to. They have failed to address the virtual impossibility of the black man reclaiming his cultural roots while maintaining and protecting the very symbols and systems used against him to control his body and mind during slavery. The slave system was a very well-planned and thought-out process which contained no useless motions or insignificant techniques. So if the main possessions taken from the black man was his name and his religion, obviously they are the most crucial elements that have the greatest influence on a man's mentality, strength, and confidence. Black men use the following excuses for holding on to the European names. A name is not important. It's what you do that counts. 2, it doesn't matter what they call me, just give me a chance. 3, some are too embarrassed or ashamed to announce to their friends, family, or white counterparts that they are reclaiming their own historically black names. 4, they don't want to go through the rejection or mockery from family or friends, especially from their mothers and their women, who may refuse to refer to them by their new name and make mockery of them. 5, they think changing their name will be disrespectful to their parents who gave them the name at birth. Possibly they are even named after a now deceased popular relative. 6, the idea of informing their church, club, co-workers, or children and mailman of their new name is overwhelming thought to them. They are apprehensive about the resistance they expect to encounter from all of these groups. They don't want to cause a problem on their jobs by informing their white bosses or the personnel office of their new name or why they changed it. That was 7. Number 8, they are emotionally connected to their name, having been taught that it is their Christian name. 9, they don't know how to change their name and think it will ruin their credit or cause them problem with the IRS. 10, they don't know any African or Arabic names. What they don't know is that American laws do not prevent or oppose an individual from changing their name. It is relatively simple and inexpensive to do. A name change does not interfere with records on file at the credit bureau or post office or library. All one has to do is inform all of the people he does business with. Changing one's name will not cause problems with the IRS because the Social Security number remains the same, as does the driver's license number, voter registration, or any other numerical code or symbol connected to an individual. The only change that takes place is a psychological one inside the black man himself. A part of his self-pride returns as he signs and answers to the name of his forefathers. Correcting his name serves as a reminder, a bond, an attachment with his glorious pre-slavery ancestors. Public proof of the black man's intentional disconnection and subsequent rejection of his black name was intentionally demonstrated when famous author Alex Haley presented his Roots book in the late 1970s. Haley, an expert writing historian, embarked on a lifelong project of tracing his personal family tree all the way back to Africa. In 1776 to 1977, I'm going to just stop it right there when he traced it all the way back to Africa. I'm looking at my time, and we're going to just pause it right there for this take on Poem Praise 2. Be blessed, and I'll be talking to you soon. Until then, peace to you and peace out. Later, y'all.